and I'd like to thank Deputy Ferris for bringing forward this, because it is important in matters such as the working life of the people of this country to review things and to keep them under review so that reality is reflected. In property law, the 21-year fixed rent lease was something that obtained for almost a century. And that was because it reflected the reality of the time, where leases were generally, pre-industrial revolution, given to the tenant farmers on the big landed estates. And the average life expectancy was 42 years of age. And the year of majority when you could sign a legal document to hold a lease was 21. And as the Americans say, if you do the maths, that gave a fixed tenancy lease of 21 years. So there was economic stability reflecting reality. And then post-World War II, with the arrival of fast-moving commercial businesses and the non-manufacturing type businesses, which tend to be longer living businesses, if you call it business a living thing, like steel, like textiles, those type of heavy fixed asset investment industrial businesses had lives or existences maybe traveling through 2 or 3 generations, and they tended to buy their premises and buy their machinery. But with World War II, commercial life became even faster moving, and businesses were organically changing in the types of assets they needed, the types of employment numbers and skills needed to conduct their businesses. And the 35-year lease became a reality. And the lawyers brought in the law to adapt to the realities of the changing businesses. And with the loss of price stability, you had the necessity, again, to reflect that reality of having reviews every 5 or 7 years. So it is important, and I'd like to say thank you to Deputy Ferris for bringing this legislation to examine and question the realities of where people are in their gainfully employed lives to earn money. You know, there are areas of work where experience and length of service are hugely important. Take, for instance, judges. How can somebody in their, we'll say, mid-40s have the experience and wisdom, one, to determine a case that is being heard in front of them, advocated, plaintiff and defense? Have they sufficient life experience, law familiarity and expertise to actually arrive at a fairness of decision-making and a fairness of judgment if there have to be penalties or awards? If somebody travels through to their 70s and they are blessed with an active mind, lots of experience, and a fairness of view, their peripheral judgment of life is a better skill set to bring to bear on the work they do. So there's an example of, in a certain calling of life, where extension of time is valuable. The same applies to science. I met a recent vice president of the European Parliament, Spanish man, just can't remember his name, professor of science, aged 71. And he has colleagues and collaborators in science, in nuclear science, in physics, who are here, Irish-based, who had to retire from their professorships at university at the age of 65. And he said, it's a tragedy. And he named the names. I didn't know them because I'm not in the field of science. And he said, these people have so much more to give as professors of science. And it's absurd, in my view, that he was forced to retire at 65. So this is another good reason why this legislation is welcome. The other thing I'd like to touch on too is what other members of the House have mentioned, and which Minister O'Riordan there has smiled, and I could see tongue in cheek as he smiled. The election. Imagine if somebody was doing their university exams, and the exam date for the first time around of a given year was May. So all the effort and preparation and project work, lectures, tutorials, etc., was geared to May. And the student got the jitters and said, I think I'll go for the repeats in September. Wouldn't that be sort of a cowardly thing of a government to do? To stop short, like pulling up Arkle with 1 furlong to go on a steeplechase? Do the job. You promised to do the job in the full term. Don't be afraid. Be courageous. The people actually will respect that. They're not fooled. Don't get jittery. Don't get the yips, the political yips. Do the job. You have certain amounts of legislation. Tell the people you intend to run the course. You intend to carry the bills that are in the satchel, the school bag. Bring them over the line. Be men and women. Don't be like nervous teenagers saying, oh, if we get a more solid mandate before Christmas, before bigger jobs need to be faced or avoided. Don't do that. Remember this too. You've staffs that committed to you for the 5 years. Staffs, your political staffs, your advisory staffs, they were told by you that there was a big job to be done, hard decisions, hard tasks. Do them. Stop talking about them and distracting. That's the challenge. That's what leadership is. That's why, as Deputy Wallace has said, Deputy Murphy has said on IBRC, Deputy Wallace on the NAMA thing, investigate. Do the root canal work. On the hospitals and health front, get in there and look at the trolleys and start doing something and get management down, instead of allowing the representatives of the midwives and nurses organizations get panic attacks because of the numbers of people arriving in A&E. And other areas like CIE or whatever. They're the hard jobs that need to be done. Don't avoid them. Next Tuesday, there's a budget. Make it fair. And if there's any last-minute adjustments to do, do them. Don't mess around with the people.
Allowed a certain indulgence there, but it is very much off topic.
It's totally on topic. I'm nearly at 65, and I expect to be able to go beyond 65. Deputy Byrne, I know he looks in his mid-40s, but in fact he's probably a month or two older than me. But he's energy, and he's... Are you that young? Well, that's less than 10% difference than me, so it's immaterial. But these are important things. Get rid of all the distractions. Focus. That's what the team managers do before the matches like the one we won last night. Focus. They don't think about, will we play in a defensive game and then hope to get a lucky goal in the extra time? No. Put the bit in your teeth. Energize. How many bills was it that they said yesterday there was to do? About 38 or something. Yeah, well, if you're serious, you can get a lot of that done. rather than sort of saying, well, we'd like to have, you know, a surer term for a longer. No, life doesn't work like that. Life works at what's in front of you. If you're doing today well, what you can do today, the rest will look after itself. So I think there's a few important things to take up here. One, it's an excellent bill because it requires sharper focus and clearer view of where the people of Ireland stand in terms of their contribution in the work areas of life. And there's many types of work, and it's not all at a 65. There's not a lowest common denominator. And two, it's a reminder, a timely reminder, that there's still a good 5 months to go, and get down and do the work. That's what you said you were going to do. That's your mandate. Don't mess around like students saying, well, I think we'd have a better go at the exam in the autumn. Thank you.